How's it going, residents? My name is Dave, welcome back to the channel, and in today's video we will finally be discussing Zach Cregger's upcoming Resident Evil movie that is set for a release date of September 18th, 2026. Now in this video I will be covering pretty much everything that we know so far about Zach Cregger's Resident Evil, going over his new movie Weapons, and if I think he'll be a good fit for Resident Evil or not. Now, real quick before we go ahead and continue on with the video, I just want to say we hit 200 subscribers here on YouTube, and I just want to say thank you guys so much for all the support that you've shown on the channel lately. It's been a little overwhelming at times, my video that I got for the scrap concept of RE9. I was not expecting the video to take off the way that it did, and I just want to say thank you guys for that. Thank you to all the new subscribers, and I just hope that I can make good content for you guys to enjoy. But I'm not going to waste any more time. Let's go ahead and dive in to Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. To start, we must go back to the beginning of April during CinemaCon, where Zach Cregger shared what we can expect from his upcoming Resident Evil movie. Zach went on to say, "There's a moment that comes in every moment of every Resident Evil game where you find yourself standing in the mouth of a dark passageway, one shot and the gun is left. You know that something horrible is waiting for you in the darkness, that awful moment where you have to will yourself. That's something that every Resident Evil game has perfected and has kept me and millions of other players returning to the series for decades. My movie will be built in the spirit of those games and follows one central protagonist from point A to point B as they descend deeper into hell." Hearing this immediately got me excited to see what Zach is cooking up for his Resident Evil movie. Just hearing how he describes the games and how he wants the movie to be built in the spirit of the games gives me hope that we may finally be getting a good Resident Evil movie.
Albert Wesker, you're fired.
The Trinity of Bitches.
At the beginning of August, Zach Cregger's new movie Weapons was released in theaters. I went and saw Weapons about a week after release and I loved it. I thought the way the story was told, with them showing each character's perspective and then finally coming together towards the end, was well done. I thought the horror was done really well. Yeah, some were jump scares, but I loved the tension and mystery of the movie. After seeing it, I can say that we shouldn't have to worry about the survival horror elements. I think Zach will give us a great horror movie. It just depends on what's going on with the story and characters. Now let's hear what Zach had to say about Resident Evil during an interview for Weapons.
Moving on from Weapons, you're doing something else that you told me about, and I was surprised to hear it, and I was pleasantly surprised to hear it. And you're working on. Oh well, can I say what you're working on right now?
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay, so you're working on Resident Evil, and now of course that's based on the series of video games. Also, series of films that have been made, and there's been several adaptations about this. So we talked about your idea for the movie, and again, I'm not saying anything at all, but I will just say that you were very proud of having a different approach to your film that is way different from the other adaptations that we've seen. And what can you say about that?
All I can say is that it is true to the experience of the games. It takes place in the world of the games, but most importantly, the journey you'll have as a viewer of watching this movie is going to be similar to the journey you have as a player when you play these games. And what that means is it follows one protagonist from point A to point B as they just descend deeper and deeper and deeper into hell. And as someone who's played, I don't know how many thousands and thousands of hours of Resident Evil, I just feel like I know how that pacing can go, and it's inherently cinematic, and I feel like there's a great movie that can live inside of this world and inside of that sort of pacing, and I'm just really, really pumped about the story that we get to tell here. So I feel like I'm chomping at the bit to make this thing. I know there's been a lot of speculation online that I should just be doing an original next and not an IP, but I don't think that those people will have that complaint when they see this, because it is an original. It's very much as a movie that feels in line with my sensibility, has my kind of sense of tone, and it's just a much bigger scale than Weapons and certainly Barbarian. And I just think I think it's going to be really cool, and I've never seen a movie like it. So I'm like beyond excited making this.
Obviously, you're a fan, huge fan of Resident Evil.
I'm a huge fan of the games. Now, I've never seen a Resident Evil movie, and so I imagine that if there are people out there that are just rabid fans of the movie franchise, they're probably, you know, not really prepared for what I'm going to be doing. But I think the people that are fans of the games are probably going to be stoked.
And you have such a unique approach to horror. I think you might have already answered this, but you know, how much of this is very faithful to the games, and how much of this is Weapons and Barbarians? You know, your influence in there.
It's much more in the world of the games than Weapons and Barbarians.
Is there a particular game that you would say that this is based on?
Well, I mean, it probably lives more in the world of 2 and 3, but I'd say it adheres more to the tone of 4. But you know, the thing about the games is that the game franchise itself is incredibly malleable. You know, 2 and 3 take place in Raccoon City, and then 4 takes place in like Spain, and it feels like it's in the past, even though it's not. And then like 7 is like a Texas Chainsaw kind of a thing, and then 8 is like some ancient European village, and definitely in the past. So, you know, the games don't even have some sort of a set lore that it's not rigid. And so I don't think I'm taking any more liberties with this than the game franchise does at all. So I think I'm coloring within the lines.
So you're shooting in Prague for this.
Yeah.
So what's the reason for shooting there?
Well, Prague has, you know, a rebate that makes this movie makeable for the budget that we have, and it has it has talented crew, and it has some great stages. There's a lot of resources here, and we're just gonna. It's the right place. It's the right place for it.
Man, I was telling you, Prague is on my list of places that I want to go to at some point. If I happen to be in Prague,
if you want to pop in and hang out on the set of Resident Evil, Corey, you know you can.
Hey man, I will take you up on that. You just tell me when the right time is to do it, and I will be over there.
You got it, man. I mean, we start rolling mid-October, and we should be done at the end of January, so you've got plenty of time.
Alrighty, so there's a lot to break down here. First off, let's start with the film being an original story. Zach stated it's an original story set in the world of the games, lives more in the world of Resident Evil 2 and 3, but with the tone of Resident Evil 4, saying that it's true to the experience of the games and that the journey you will have as a viewer will be similar to the journey you have as a player. Now, if you ask me, I'm 100% on board with what Zach is saying about the movie. Now, obviously, you can't please everyone, and I know fans out there will want an adaptation of Resident Evil 1 or 2, but in my opinion, I think the best and safest way to make a Resident Evil movie is the approach that Zach is taking. Stay true to the source material and atmosphere of the games while making an original story set within the world of Resident Evil. That way, we don't end up with another Welcome to Raccoon City.
It's the biggest piece of dog shit.
He goes on to confirm what we've heard from him back at CinemaCon, talking about the story following a single protagonist on a point A to point B journey. Zach mentions how he's put thousands of hours into the Resident Evil games, and he knows how the pacing of the games can go with how cinematic it is. He feels like there's a great movie that can live within the world inside that pacing. And honestly, I 100% agree, and I'm pretty sure others, including y'all, can agree Resident Evil can work very well as a movie. Just look at Resident Evil 4. It has the action, the horror, the awesome 90s cheese that we all love, and with how many ports and now a remake, I'm surprised no one has tried making one yet. If you're going to make any Resident Evil movie that's not an original story set within the world, I think you're missing out by not trying to make a live-action Resident Evil 4. Now, Zach did say he hasn't seen any of the previous Resident Evil movies, and that the movies aren't his thing, but he loves the games. Now, I believe him when he says he's a fan, even though we've heard it from every other director, and I can understand if the movies aren't his thing, but the games are. I still think he should watch the previous movies, or even watch clips of the movies online just to see what us fans didn't like about the previous iterations. I don't think it's the biggest deal, just a nitpick. My guess is he is probably aware of the previous movies, but just doesn't want anything to do with them. And I mean, let's be honest, he's not missing much. I'm confident with what Zach is saying about the games as well as the movie. I do believe that this will be in good hands. Zach did go on to confirm that they will be shooting in Prague, will start rolling mid-October, and should be done filming at the end of January. Which October is right around the corner, only about another week here left in September, and you bet if there's any type of set photos or anything that comes out during filming, I will be covering it here on the channel, so make sure to subscribe so you won't miss out on any coverage on Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. Now let's move on to the plot and cast for the movie. While it hasn't been confirmed, this information does come from Daniel RPK, but it gives us a look into what we could be expecting from Resident Evil. Again, while it hasn't been confirmed, do take this information with a grain of salt. For Zach Cregger's Resident Evil, we will follow a character named Brian, a laid-back organ courier on a late-night delivery to Raccoon City General Hospital. En route through a snowy mountain road, Brian accidentally hits a strange woman with his car. She survives, but something is wrong. As he tries to help, Brian stumbles into an outbreak involving horrifying tentacle-based mutations and bioengineered monstrosities. Again, I am liking what I'm hearing and I'm fully on board. The woman getting hit by the car is similar to the truck driver hitting the infected woman in Resident Evil 2 Remake. I think it's awesome we will be getting tentacle-based monsters, and which seems to be bioweapons. To me, it's something new and refreshing. I love zombies, but switching up the enemies every now and then is a good thing. I don't think necessarily the movie needs to have zombies, especially with how much they were used in the previous movies. It makes sense to go for something new that the audience isn't going to expect, at least in my opinion. Now let's dive into the cast for the film. Austin Abrams, who starred in Zach Cregger's latest film Weapons, as well as Euphoria, has been casted in the film as the lead role, but it has not been confirmed if he will be playing Brian if the supposed plot is true. Just recently, it got announced by Deadline that Paul Walter Hauser has been cast in Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. He recently starred in Fantastic Four: The First Steps and The Naked Gun, two movies that I did really enjoy. Not sure what his role will be in the movie, but I do like him as an actor. He can be funny as well, so I wonder if he will serve as the comedic relief, one of the Umbrella researchers, or hospital staff. Wasn't expecting the casting, but I'm interested in seeing who he will be playing. Now, one other casting that never got confirmed that I thought I would mention because it did create buzz online, and that is Mikey Madison, best known for her roles in Honora, Better Things, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. According to reports back in March, Oscar winner Mikey Madison was in talks to join Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. Reports were saying she was offered the lead role. At the time, she did turn down a role in Sean Levy's upcoming Star Wars movie, but I haven't heard or seen anything if she's still attached to Resident Evil. My guess is she isn't, but I thought it'd be worth mentioning since she's an Oscar winner and we haven't gotten a big name Oscar winning star to be part of a Resident Evil movie. Last, Darius Wolski will be the cinematographer for Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. He worked on films such as Pirates of the Caribbean, Prometheus, The Martian, and one of my personal favorite movies, The Crow, starring Brandon Lee. I'm a big movie guy and love the cinematography in movies, and this guy has done some really good work. I can already tell we're in for a visual treat, and this just gets me even more excited. Well, that's pretty much all there is to cover and discuss right now about this new upcoming Resident Evil movie. Now, do I have faith we won't be let down once again? Yes, but it all comes down to the story. Zach could do amazing things with the survival horror elements and give us a visually appealing movie, but deep down, I can't lie, the story could make or break the movie, and it's all going to come down to how the story is handled. I'm pumped for the movie, and I do believe Zach will finally give us a good Resident Evil movie, but that's just my opinion. Let me know what you think of Zach Cregger's Resident Evil. Are you excited? Are you hesitant? Or have you given up on live-action Resident Evil altogether? Let me know down in the comments below. Hope you all enjoyed the video, and if you did, make sure to leave a like and subscribe. Until next time, peace.